there was no one to judge you, would you make different choices? Why make choices in your life based on what everyone else thinks is best for you? What about trusting your intuition and just going with what you think? Everyone has the power to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here's the host of Inspired Choices, intuitive life coach, Christine McIver.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am your host, Christine McIver, and I am located in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. I'm so glad you're here with me today, or if you're listening online later, I really appreciate that. And we're going to get right into it because I have a lot to share today. Personally, I've struggled in this area myself a lot, so I think I've got some things I can share. Anyways, what's going on for you right now in the universe, in your life? The energy is definitely shifting. Mercury was in retrograde for like nearly a whole month, and it ended last Friday, so thankfully. But there still seems to be a little bit of residual effects going on, but it is moving out. So be gentle with yourself and keep doing this self-care work we've talked about before. What we're moving into right now, astrologically, is the sun is in Virgo. And what that is doing is it's bringing forth a pull towards getting organized and getting back to work. So take advantage of this and focus on the details to help you reach your goals. Take advantage of it, help it to work with it so it can help to move you forward to what you really want. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm taking advantage of this and helping any clients that are interested, and I'm putting on a vision board workshop Monday, September the 12th, which also is a full moon. So we're going to take all of the energy that we can at every possible moment and really apply that to our goals and our dreams. A vision board is an amazing thing. It helps you to stay focused. As all the chaos is running around you, this helps you to stay on your path. And we can use every tool in the universe, right? So this is awesome. And I think it's really cool, too, that this is happening as we're getting back to school. So it's kind of a symbol for us getting back onto our routine. Summer is amazing. I hate to see it going. Truly, truly, I do. It's so lovely just to be outside and enjoy the beautiful weather. But it's good, too, to get back into a routine, just like after you've been on vacation, to come back, get all the clothes put away, get everything cleaned up, and get back into a routine. It's actually very, very grounding for all of us. Routine helps us to feel safe. So if you're someone who's been feeling out of balance or you've been feeling like you're not very grounded, get back into your routine. So last week we were talking about change and getting in touch with what you want, and focusing on that daily is going to make it easier, okay? So we talked about a vision board, but we also talked about a success board. The success board you put down as to what you have accomplished. That helps you to see that you are moving through the process of your goals, and it also helps to quiet that ego when it is, that voice inside of your head that's beating you up because it's telling you you're not good enough, or it's telling you can't do something you've got in your vision. We also went over the change process. First step was have your vision. What do I want? The second is plan. How do I want to get there? What are the resources I need? Then move to execution. Move forward, continuously improving your process, the way you're going to do it, and executing on it, but being flexible. Being flexible, because as things change, just like, a tree needs to bend with the wind, we need to also be able to be flexible so we can stay on the path. And the last, most important step of all is to celebrate. You must celebrate your successes. It feeds your soul, and it really helps to empower you to take the next step forward. I forgot last week to give you my book suggestion for change. This is a book that really spoke to me. I read it over 3 years ago, and it helped me really to get on my path to more into the spiritual, more getting in touch with my passion and where I wanted to drive. And this book is called The Saint, the Surfer, and the CEO, and it's by an amazing author and motivational speaker, Robin Sharma, and he's actually based out of Toronto. I do have that book on my website, inspiredchoices.ca. You can check it out on the resources page, okay? So let's get into today. Today we're talking about carrying judgment, blame, and resentment is like drinking poison. Isn't that true? If you find yourself like you're angry at other people or you're dissatisfied in your life, you may be holding anger and resentment, and it is actually going inside of you. We find ourselves in a place where we're looking at somebody else and we're judging them. And why do we judge other people? Well, often because they don't agree with us. They're different. Well, here's my question. Why do we believe that others should be the way we are? Hasn't that created enough chaos in our universe? Look at all the wars that have happened because we didn't agree with somebody. All of the arguments because somebody is choosing to be a different way. If they're not bringing direct harm to you, then why is that important? Remember that having a variety in the world is a reality, and it also brings together other things that we can enjoy. If we were all the same, if all of our cities looked the same, if all of our people dressed the same, if we all listened to the same music, if we all celebrated in the same way, how would we ever enjoy new things? It would always be boring to us. Differences make it a rich life. And so when we're judging somebody else, we're taking away that opportunity to enjoy something new. Now, one of the biggest judgments is actually self-judgment. It can actually be even harder on ourselves. When we are resentful about our past choices, we beat ourselves up, and that is not going to help you to move forward. Yes, you should acknowledge your choices. Yes, you should acknowledge and be honest with yourself about where you maybe went off the beaten track. But beating yourself up in self-judgment is going to keep you stuck and actually take you down into a deeper place. And if you can't move forward, you can't move forward when you're holding on to your past. And I can tell you a personal story. I was very angry and resentful when my marriage was not working and when it didn't work. And after the physical marriage had ended, I was still walking around in anger. I was still looking to the past and holding that anger and that resentment and blaming that person I was in relationship with for the way that I was feeling. And holding anger and resentment, this is so true. It does more damage to the vessel in which it is stored than the object on which it is poured. Isn't that powerful? I'm going to read that again. It does more damage to the vessel in which it is stored than the object in which it is poured. When you hold resentment inside, it can produce very unhealthy behaviors. You can find yourself trying to numb the pain by using drugs or alcohol. Maybe you numb the pain by going shopping and spending a lot of money and getting yourselves into debt. Maybe you numb the pain or you stay locked down in the anger and resentment by sharing it with somebody else. So not only are you feeling crappy, but now you're going to share it with somebody else and you're going to have them feel crappy too. And if you keep doing that, if you keep choosing to focus on this anger and resentment, eventually it can lead to very, very negative behaviors and very, very negative feelings, right down to depression and, God forbid, suicide. Resentment is one of the worst things that we can do to ourselves. So focusing on what happened in the past will definitely keep you stuck. Oftentimes we get into resentment because we have an expectation. We have an expectation that they're going to behave differently, that they are going to do something to please us. And that really is foolish, to expect somebody else to do something to please us. They say that expectations are like planned resentments. When you are hoping that someone will respond in a certain way or behave in a certain way, there's nothing wrong with hope. Hope is good. But when you have an expectation and you're standing there with your hands on your hips and your face is scowled and you are waiting for them to behave the way you want it, you are just about guaranteed that you are going to be disappointed. I would love to hear from some of the listeners today about what you have been struggling with in this area and what you have done to help you move out of it. You may not be there anymore. We would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you are listening after the show on a recording, send me an email. I love to hear your thoughts and where you've been struggling or where you've been growing. That's a really awesome thing to learn from each other. We all got to work together. We all got to support each other, right? So one of the things that we all need to ask ourselves is, what is my part in this problem? And be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. when I was stuck in that resentment, I thought, okay, it takes two people to make a marriage. It takes two people to end a marriage. It is very rarely ever one person's problem. And if you keep focusing and you keep pointing over at that one person, there's three fingers pointing back at you, right? Be honest with yourself. I needed to be honest with myself. I needed to recognize that I made a poor choice in getting into that marriage, that I did it based on fear. I didn't want to be alone, and I thought no one would love me. I didn't have the self-love to choose better. And so I needed to be completely honest with myself. And once I was honest with myself, I moved into the next step, which is forgiving yourself. We need to forgive yourself. If you walk around and hold this strong judgment or resentfulness at yourself because of the choices that you made, you're not going to be able to heal yourself. And once you've forgiven yourself and you've cried those tears of forgiveness, or you've pounded that pillow of anger and you've let that emotion move up out of you, you can move into healing yourself and helping yourself to make better choices. What if you are angry or resentful about a situation that is not yours? What if you get angry because your coworker made a poor choice, or somebody is hurting a friend of yours, but it's not really your stuff, okay? I want you to listen to this. This is really important. Something that I've learned very deeply is you cannot take someone else's lessons away from them, or you stop them and their opportunity to grow. Whether these are your children, whether these are your friends, even if it's your spouse. If you do this, if you take that situation away from them, if you get involved, what you do is you rob them of that lesson, and the lesson is going to have to repeat itself over and over again until they are able to get it. So here's a great question as we go to break. Ask yourself, do I own this? When something comes up, do I own this? And just breathe through that. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to continue talking about how anger, resentment, and blame can keep us stuck, and it feels like we're drinking poison, all right? I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, and when we're back for break, we'll continue. Stay tuned. Well, welcome back, everyone. So we are talking today about carrying judgment, blame, and resentment, and how it is like drinking poison. You know why it's like drinking poison? Because the other person doesn't feel it. The other person is not impacted by it because you're carrying it. You've got it inside of you, and not only is it affecting your emotional and mental, it can also affect your physical. It can affect your physical because just like you know how you talk to a plant, to help a plant grow better. Well, the same thing can happen to you when all of your cells are responding to your mental position, okay? And your mental position can actually have an impact on the cells, how they respond, and how healthy they are or they are not. Now, there is a thought out there, and I do believe that when we are carrying anger and resentment and we're staying down in that heavy negative energy, we can actually attract to us diseases. Because diseases or disease is, if you separate that word, dis-ease. You are at dis-ease with something. So if you care about your health and you know that you want to be happy and you want to be at peace and you want to have joy in your life, you need to work through this. Now, I always have encouraged people, and I will continue to encourage people, don't ignore your feelings. If you're angry and resentful, and you're judging somebody, get to the root of how you're feeling, okay? Work through those feelings, because if you don't, it's like shoving it down and shoving it down. Do you ever see people that walk around and maybe they don't drink beer, but they have a big beer belly, or they look like they're 4 or 5 months pregnant? Oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes they are pushing their emotions down. And what happens in our brain is when we are in anxiety, and we know that, of course, if you're angry and resentful, you probably have a lot of anxiety, you actually release chemicals in the brain that send a signal to the stomach to protect yourself. And you can actually, your stomach can grow larger without you even gaining weight because you are carrying stress. And of course, these things can create stress in your life. Anger and resentment and judgment and blame absolutely create stress. So you need to ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want? Would you rather be right or would you rather be at peace? Isn't that a great question? I can tell you that when I was going through my coaching training, we did this one exercise, and it was very powerful. It was very moving. And one of the things that we did was we wrote down 3 things that we want to say yes to and 3 things that we want to say no to. Okay? And we did this ritual where we actually kind of crossed over a line after we finished saying it. And for me, saying I want to love myself, yes. Saying I acknowledge that I'm a fantastic mother, yes. And saying yes to pampering myself. Those were really, really important to me. And they were things that I didn't embrace in the past. Saying no, the biggest thing was saying no to being seduced by the craziness around me, the craziness that people were trying to draw me into, and I was allowing them to draw me into. Saying no to being controlling, trying to control everybody else, trying to control how they acted, how they behaved. Because they weren't making me happy, I wanted to control them. And the only person you can control is yourself. That's it. And sometimes we don't do a very good job of that, do we? And the third thing for me was saying no to giving in to the anger. I wanted to be at peace. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. You have to decide, when have you had enough? If we want to create a world, whether it's on the global scale or on a personal scale in our home, if we want to create a world of happiness, it has to start from within. And that's why I say be selfish with your feelings. Be selfish. Pay attention to your feelings. Make yourself feel good, not at the detriment of other people. But don't worry about others first. First look within. And if it's making you crazy, do some work to heal yourself. Sometimes saying no to being seduced by the craziness is maybe stepping back from the computer. Right? We know that there's a lot of bullying that goes on. People are saying things that maybe they shouldn't be because they feel the safety of the computer. Step back from the computer. You don't have to respond to that email. You do not have to respond to that post. You don't. It's your choice. You don't have to answer that phone. Most people have call display. I can tell you sometimes when the phone rings, I look at the name. If I'm not in a good place, if I'm not grounded, if I'm not feeling loving towards myself, I will step away from the phone call. I won't take the phone call at that moment. That also maybe means putting your BlackBerry down, people. You don't have to respond. One of the things that I teach my clients is, okay, go write a letter. Write a letter to that person. Get that anger up. You don't need to mail it. Maybe you'd like to burn it afterwards, though, so that you could burn away the emotions that you're feeling and have that resentment go away. Release it to the universe, okay? The best thing to do is, even once you've stepped away from these things or even stepped away from the front door, don't answer the door. If you're not in a good place, unless somebody's life is at risk, you don't have to do that. Don't say, well, they called me, I had to answer the phone. No, you didn't. You didn't have to do anything. Remember, you always have a choice. One of the best things to do to help you move out of this, even just to keep you sane in that moment while that phone is ringing, is go find a quiet place to pray, meditate, or just breathe. Do that for yourself and for the other person. Even when that person is maybe coming in your direction and maybe trying to engage you in this chaos, you know what? Their soul wants to be at peace. Their soul wants to be happy. If you could just speak to their soul, they wouldn't want to do this. But the human ego keeps drawing us in. It keeps drawing us into the chaos. And we need to take back our power, and we need to say, I don't want to do this anymore. Holding on to resentment is letting someone else live rent-free in your head. Isn't that true? Don't they take up a lot of space? Don't they take up a lot of your energy? You go to bed with them and you wake up with them in the morning, but there's nobody beside you in the bed? Or it's not that person, at least. People, it's time to take responsibility for our lives. Take back your power. You know what? We are here to learn, and the best way we learn is through relationships. So, Whether relationship is with someone that you still want to be in a relationship with, or the relationship has ended but the resentment hasn't yet left, you can choose better so you can feel better about yourself, and you will bring a better person to relationships in the future, whether that relationship is still there or you're going to make new ones. But if you walk around with anger and resentment, it's going to show on your face, it's going to show in your body, it's going to show in your paycheck, it's going to show in the medications you're having to take, it's going to show in every part of your life. Eventually it will get caught up, right? I love this quote, never let yesterday use up too much of today. That's by Will Rogers. Now, one of the things that I teach my clients is about changing the dance. If you've been a client of mine, you know that we've done a little dance together because I love hands-on work. But when you are in a dance with someone, so if you have a child that, when they want something, they scream and yell, and you react in a certain way, you scream and yell back, and you do this dance back and forth, and eventually you can't take it anymore, so you give in. Well, that's the dance you two are used to, right? That's called a codependent relationship. Whether it's an angry relationship or it's a resentful relationship, you are in a codependent relationship. So you may not have a disease of alcohol or drugs or some kind of a physical addiction, but you may have an emotional addiction, and that's being codependent. It can be a short-term relationship or it can be a long-term relationship. So what you want to do is you want to start making better choices, and the dance is going to need to change. It is going to help both people involved in the relationship eventually, but the other person may not understand that the dance is changing, and they're going to want to go back to the old dance just because that's the only dance they've ever known with you. So be gentle with yourself. Remember the 4 learning steps? Be gentle with yourself and understand that you're learning through this, and they are learning through this as well. As you change the dance, they may get louder for a little while. They may want to pull back into the old dance, but that's not going to heal the relationship. That's not going to heal them or heal you, right? It's really a blessing when we can rise above the dysfunction and then all the drama and anger and codependency. Letting your emotions out is a key to that, okay? Some of the anger methods that I suggest people do is, first of all, cry. If you're somebody that hasn't cried before or you have a hard time crying, maybe you need to get a movie that makes you cry. You may want to watch it alone. I don't think an emotion crying is anything to be ashamed of, but maybe that would be more comfortable for you. Tears are actually very healing. And if you think of your body as a vessel, that vessel, when you have anger and resentment, is heavy black soot inside of you. And when you cry, you get it up. When you yell, not at someone else, but just scream, maybe scream in your car where nobody can hear you. Maybe go out into the mountains and scream, or just scream in the basement. Find a quiet room you can scream in, or pound some pillows. Pounding pillows is amazing to help you to get that anger up. And wow, boy, oh boy, does it get the emotions moving out of you. It is amazing when you move those emotions up and out of you, people. You're going to feel relief. You may, after you've been yelling or pounding pillows, you may start to cry. It's okay. Allow the tears to come up. They will be healing for you. And then and only then can you move towards healing yourself and move towards peace. I know that most of us, I don't know anybody that has never been affected by anger or resentment. I know that many of us have this challenge at one time or another. Maybe that's not where you are right now. Maybe you're in a great place. Or maybe you are really, really struggling. Don't feel ashamed of it. Reach out for some assistance. Reach out for some support. I would love to take your calls and to help you through something if you're dealing with it. But I know it sometimes is intimidating to come on the phone, and that's okay. If you want, send me an email, and I'll answer your email on the call if you're more comfortable with that. And if you're listening afterwards, don't hesitate in sending me an email. I do try to answer all the emails, okay? So when we get back for break, we're going to continue to talk about anger and resentment and blame and how it's actually impacting us more than it impacts somebody else, and how we can move into forgiveness of them, the other person, and most especially forgiveness of ourselves. when we can move into forgiveness, then we can begin to attract to us more things that will make us happy and more things that will bring joy. But honestly, when you're carrying this stuff around, you are blocking your joy. You are blocking your prosperity. And if you wonder why you've been so stuck lately, it may be that you're carrying something, that you're judging other people, that is not healing you. Okay, so stay on the line. We'll be back just after a couple minutes break, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you're still here with me. I'm Christine McIver, your host of Inspired Choices. You know, the name of my show is the name of my business, and it's because it speaks to me personally, and I know how it speaks to many of us. The one thing that differentiates us between animals is that God gave us free will. He gave us the power to choose. And sometimes we don't choose very wisely, do we? And sometimes we do. But to be inspired means to be with spirit, to really get within yourself, to find out what really is working for you, and to be inspired to move forward with your choices. So that title for me, I searched a long time to what really spoke to me. And that's what it means to me. And my symbol for my company is the purple butterfly. Some people actually refer to me as the butterfly lady or the purple lady. And I do love the purple, and I do love the butterfly. And for me, it is a soothing color. It speaks to the spirituality aspect of life. And also the butterfly talks about, it just speaks to transformation. It's coming through the difficult times and moving into our beauty. I just got a call, or I just got an email from one of our listeners, and she asked a great question. She said, how do I learn to forgive myself? Isn't that a powerful question? So many of us are struggling with how we do that as well. The biggest thing that I know is to really look at, where was I? Where was I when that was going on in my life? Where was I when I made that choice? Did I intend to hurt someone else, or did I make that choice from my ego? When you are operating from the ego, when you've got anger and fear and resentment, and you can't seem to move forward, it's your ego holding on to you. It's that pride and that's that negative energy that there's so much of in the world right now. But good news, we're moving forward, and there's a lot more people becoming conscious about making their choices and making them from a spiritual aspect within themselves. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to believe in any certain religion or whatever you call it. You can just call it your higher power or the source or the universe, whatever you call it. But there is a love that is within each and every one of us. We are not a body with a soul. We are a soul with a body that has come into this time and space to experience life. And if you want to grow, and if you want to move forward, forgiveness must happen. And forgiving yourself is knowing that you are doing the best that you can. I can tell you, when I was working at moving forward, and when I wanted to have more self-love, and where I wanted to move forward past this ego and into a better life of prosperity, what I did was I took out a picture of myself when I was a little girl. And I looked at that picture of that little girl, and I just thought, she didn't mean to hurt someone. She didn't mean to do those things. And there was a lot of tears involved. Woohoo! Let me tell you, but when I could see that child within me needed to be released from the anger, I was able to forgive myself for those choices. And I made a commitment to myself first that I wanted to move out of these negative experiences. I wanted to move towards more joy and unblock all of this stuff so I can have more prosperity in my life and better relationships. I knew that I needed to forgive myself. And just, if you take your left hand, and you put it on your heart, do it with me now, and you take your right hand and you put it on your stomach. Your stomach is where your anger, your fear, and your power sit. This is your solar plexus, and this is where your power sits. And when you put your hand on your heart, You are connecting your love to your fear. And isn't that what judgment and blame and resentment is? We're afraid of something. Send yourself love. And just doing that, closing your eyes, taking some deep breaths and say, I forgive you. I forgive you. Say it over and over and over. It may take you days and months. Don't give up. You're worth it. You deserve to be in joy, and you deserve to be happy. And if you truly have a burning desire within you to make our world a better place for our children and the people around us now, we each and every one of us need to take a hold of ourselves and maybe do a little checkup from the neck up, right? What are you thinking about? What are the thoughts? What are you holding up there that's not powerful, that is not empowering to you or to other people around you? When you free yourself from this judgment and anger, blame and resentment, you are truly going to be powerful because you are taking accountability for your own joy. When we expect someone else to make us happy, we are always going to be disappointed. It's not their job to make us happy. It's our job to make ourselves happy. It's their job to make them happy. And when you can say, okay, I don't own this. This is something they're working through. And you don't throw that in somebody's face, but you just sit with that and just, okay, I don't own this. This is their anger that they're working through. Then you can allow them to move through their lessons. But understand that you too need to look within and you need to see what you're carrying. You know, when you seriously are holding anger and resentment, you're blocking your prosperity. Maybe you're blocking that money you need. Maybe you're blocking a relationship that you want in your life. Maybe you're blocking a new job. Maybe you're blocking better health. You know, when we have anger and resentment, it is turning inside of us, and it is actually self-harming. And we will not make better choices when we are stuck in all of that negative energy. If you ever listen, if you know the law of attraction and you've heard of Abraham, I received an email this week, and nothing is a coincidence, and I wanted to read it to you. And Abraham said, attempting to control others attracts more to be controlled. It is easy to understand how you would come to the conclusion that your path to feeling good is through influencing or controlling the behavior of others. But as you attempt to control them through influence or coercion, you discover that not only can you not contain them, but your attention to them brings more like them into your experience. You simply cannot get to where you want to be by controlling or eliminating the unwanted. So in other words, when we are looking outside of ourselves, when we are looking at something to fix us, to bring us more joy, something or someone else, and we're trying to control a situation, we are not only avoiding what's going on inside of us, but it is going to be futile because you cannot control anything outside of yourself. And as long as you keep your binoculars heavily focused on the things that are making you feel angry, on the things that are making you feel resentful, on the things that are making you talk about the anger and resentment and gossip, you are going to get more of that. It's very, very important that you understand that in order to move forward, it truly is up to you. Now, if you are not in the position right now that you feel like you don't know where to start, give somebody a call. Call a professional life coach. This is something I work with my clients all of the time to help them move forward into a better life. There are many amazing resources out there, psychiatrists, psychologists, whatever it is. You know, it is not a weak thing to actually reach out and ask for support and love from somebody else. You know what? You're probably good at what you do. They're good at what they do as well. It's very important to understand that you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to sit there and just keep playing this same chaos over and over in your mind. So when you can start to focus on the things that are going to be better for you and the things that are going to heal you, you are going to begin to make better choices. When we come back from break, we're going to get into more of this. We're going to talk about stress and how it's also involved in the change. You know, last week when we were talking And on every show I talk about fear because there's two dimensions, two separation dimensions of emotions. One is love, if you can imagine that at the top, and one is ego, and you can imagine that at the bottom. And the ego energy, the emotions that are when you know you're in your ego is negative. And the foundation of ego is fear. And what does fear stand for? False evidence appearing real. So when we are stuck in fear because we're fearful that someone is not going to do something to make us happy, when we are stuck in fear because we're angry that things are not going to go our way or someone has done something deliberate to us, we stay stuck down in fear and we actually hold ourselves back from growing. It is extremely loving and important for each and every one of us to look within ourselves and take accountability for what we're thinking about and what we want. And, this is a really powerful question, and I want you to ask yourself this. Do you want to be right or do you want to be at peace? And I think I've already said that, but that's a powerful question. Do you want to be right? Have you ever been angry, and after you were angry, you kind of stopped yourself and you went, oh my God, who was that? You don't even recognize your own self because you're trying so hard to be right. It's like your ego has, something has taken a hold of your body and your mouth and it's been pushing you forward into this chaos conversation. And seriously, you're just trying to be right. It doesn't maybe make sense, but do you want to be at peace? You have to come back to what do you truly want? That is the key, and the stress that you are creating for yourself by not taking acknowledgement for this, by not holding yourself accountable to your own happiness, it can get really scary. Unfortunately, now more than ever, suicide rates are high. Why are they high? Well, there's a lot of negative energy in the universe, and there is a lot of us struggling. I'm here to tell you don't have to struggle. The people that you know that are struggling, they don't have to struggle. We can all reach out and help each other. Maybe for you, it's going to be reaching for a book that helps you to learn more about yourself. Maybe it's going to be listening to some music that makes you feel soothing. Maybe it's going to be playing with your animal. They are so grounding. They are so loving. They give their love unconditionally. If you need to take some time from your chaotic life, go and be with an animal. Maybe you don't have an animal. I don't. What I do sometimes is I go visit my friend Denise, who has a beautiful puppy named Mickey, and I go and play with him. Or I'll maybe go to the woods and I'll go to my favorite tree. And you've all seen my tree on Facebook, the pictures that I put up. And I'll go and breathe in the energy of that tree. And I will sit there and I will enjoy the beauty that's around me. It's hard to be angry. When you are doing these things, it's hard to be angry when you see all the beauty around us. You are meant to live a life of joy. And God gave you free will. So He's not going to come down and make you choose something differently, but He wants you. He or she wants you. The universe wants you to choose differently to make yourself happy. And you know what? You know how we grow? Do you know how we evolve? It's 99% of the times through relationships. And those people that have come into your life, that have made you angry, that have kept you stuck right now, they can actually be your biggest teachers. So when we come back, we'll talk more about that. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. I know today's topic may be a little heavy. We're talking about judgment, anger, and resentment and how carrying those in our lives can create much more chaos. And it's like drinking poison, frankly. And it really is true. We need to move out of that. We need to move towards what will be better for us. And, one of the best ways of doing that is by moving through your emotions. Before we went to break, we were talking about the question I had posed is, do you want to be right or do you want to be at peace? And I can tell you personally, when I've gone through this, I've been angry at other people and I thought, why are they doing this to me? Why are they hurting me like this? Well, you know what? I'm looking to that person to make me happy. But at the same time, I can tell you that every single person that has ever come into my life that maybe hasn't worked out perfectly has been one of my greatest teachers. They have been people who have made me angry, made me resentful, but they have taught me to look within and to help me to grow to making better choices for me. And that is one of the most empowering things that you can have for yourself, is to make a better choice. So if you can look at these people and you can see that they have actually been a blessing to you. I know, it might be a stretch. Initially when somebody said this to me, I thought, are you insane? That person, a blessing to me? But honestly, when I look back 10 and 20 years in my life and I see the challenges that I went through, I can see now that those people came into my life and they were a blessing to me. It was so powerful. Now, we have a question today, and I want to share this with you. And the question is from Jackie. She says, help me to show people my dreams and wants. And how do I do that and not have them be disappointed in me and because they can't see the same thing? How do I better communicate this to them? Well, first of all, Jackie, are you doing this because it's making you happy? Are your dreams going to make you happy? Well, I'm going to assume yes, because there's something you have in your heart. And you know what? Other people, you expecting other people to understand your dreams and you expecting other people to respect your dreams, and maybe that's an unreasonable expectation. Are you looking, Jackie, to the other person to make you happy because they're accepting of your dream? Not everybody is going to be. And as long as you are putting that expectation out there, you are going to be disappointed. When you share your dreams and your hopes with people, sometimes, until the dream is real, some people may look at you and go, really? Well, it's your dream. It's not their dream. They don't get it. They maybe can't see the whole picture. It's not up to them to get it. If you get it and you're doing the things to keep you on your path towards your dreams, good for you. Do you know what? Here's a great story. Colonel Sanders, actually, he had a dream, right? And we all know how prosperous that dream has been. Well, Colonel Sanders had a dream that, you know what, many people didn't believe in. Many people didn't get it. He actually knocked on over 100 doors before he received his first yes. So what the biggest thing to do is to release the expectation for them to be happy or disappointed. They can be disappointed, but that's their stuff, isn't it? You're not asking them to carry your stuff, are you? If they're disappointed in you doing something, well, maybe they need to look within themselves. Maybe there's something within them that needs to be released if they're expecting you to do something differently. Each and every one of us deserves to be happy, and we deserve to all follow our dreams. Okay, before the show ends, I want to tell you about, on my website, please connect with me, inspiredchoices.ca. Send me an email. Let me know about your experience of the shows. I want to hear what's working for you. I want to hear what you'd like to learn more about. I've got a contest going on as well. Connect with me through inspiredchoices.ca, through my email, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca, or through my website or Facebook, Inspired Choices Inc. And the contest is, if you email me one thing that you have learned or heard on this call today, you will receive a free 15-minute intuitive life coaching session. And we can do that in person. We can do that over the phone. We can do it over Skype. It doesn't matter where you're listening from. We can do that. And I love to connect to new people. And it's going to be all about you. Maybe it's going to be on this topic. Maybe it's going to be on a topic to help you move towards your dreams. Whatever the topic is, whatever area of your life you would like more happiness and joy in, I will help you to connect to that more deeply to the best of my abilities. Now, here's a tool to help you with our topic today. If you are carrying anger and resentment, and if you are having a very difficult time getting detached from that situation with another person, or being detached from your emotions of that situation, understand that you are in connection with that person, right? If there was some kind of a relationship with that person, whether it was a small relationship or a big relationship, there's a connection. Imagine from your solar plex, from your power center, there is a big rope, a big cord coming from your power center to that person's power center. Well, when you are in bed, when you are about to go to sleep tonight, visualize fire burning away at that cord. Visualize it burning and burning and burning away until there's no cord left. And as you do that, here's a great affirmation. I send you away with light, love, and forgiveness. I send you away with light, love, and forgiveness. Now remember, that doesn't happen off the get-go. It takes practice. You don't just forgive because you need to move on. You have to practice it. So be patient with yourself. Keep going over this. And remember that you deserve to be selfish about your feelings so you can feel better. You're not here to please others. You're here to please yourself and to move forward. Here's some stress techniques. If you're really carrying a lot of stress during the day, do some yoga. There's great breathing techniques in yoga. Stretches the body out, helps to move those anxiety chemicals that I was talking about through the body. Go for a walk. Go be with nature. Meditate. I've struggled a lot with learning how to meditate. If you can just meditate for 1 minute and all you're doing is breathing in, say, I am, and as you're breathing out, at peace. I am at peace. That will help to release, give you some quiet time from the chaos in your mind. It will quiet your mind for just a few minutes, and that will help you to feel better. Another great stress technique is to go eat a good meal, reasonable in size. Now, I shared with you the contest. Next week, we're going to have a special guest on the show. Her name is Sandra Grant, and she's going to share with us her journey, the highs and lows she's had, the struggles and choices she has made, what has worked, what hasn't, to bring her to greater joy and satisfaction. As we're closing out, I want to read a prayer to you from Illuminata with Mary Ann Williamson. Dear God, I have been betrayed. Take away from me this pain. Let me not be tempted to wrong those who have wronged me or to hate those who hate me, but rather, dear God, please use your power on my behalf, that through your love I might invoke the light, that through your forgiveness I might speed resurrection, that through your grace the Spirit of the Lord might enter and make all things right. Let me not be tempted by darkness, even though it is all around me. Let me continue to see the good in others, even when they have turned the arrows of their fear against me. We're just about done. I want to just bring your attention to a couple of books that are on my website. The Dance of Anger and The Dance of Intimacy. They are very, very powerful, and they have helped me move through some of these issues we talked about today. Please contact me. Join me next week with our special guest, and know that you are not alone. And as always, remember, my friends, you always have a choice. Choose wisely. Choose from the place of loving yourself, and you will move in a better direction. All the best for your week. Bye now.